Hey gorgeous, welcome back and welcome to another video. In case you didn't already know, I recently self-published a book, which is a massive, massive thing for me, considering I studied creative writing at uni and it was drilled into me during that time, never self-publish. Always go down the traditional publishing route. And there were a lot of beliefs instilled to me during that time. For instance, that I would be a bad writer if I self-published. And so I internalized a lot of beliefs about self-publishing because of what I learnt at uni. And I thought to myself, if I self-publish, then I've essentially lost. Which isn't necessarily true because, you know, publishers want you to think that you're a failure if you self-publish. Because if you self-publish, then that gives them less power and less control. The more I learnt about the publishing industry after I left uni, the more disillusioned I felt with the industry as a whole. And I left the writing industry a few years ago. I kind of just gave up on it, but now I'm back because I feel as though writers have a little bit more agency these days when it comes to being independent and publishing things themselves. I had to talk myself into self-publishing, if we're being real. And the more I learnt about it, the less scary it became. Granted, there are probably people out there who do give self-publishing a bad name because you don't have to submit it to a publisher and have someone look at your work and deem it good enough to send out into the world. And naturally, there's going to be people who might have work that isn't up to scratch. So I can understand to an extent why I was taught to be against self-publishing. But also the main reason why I decided to self-publish this book is because it was a novella. I worked on this for a very long time. I tried to make it a novel. It didn't want to be a novel. So I left it as a novella. And I'm not going to force art into something that it doesn't want to be. I know why publishers have word counts, but I feel as though we shouldn't make art fit in a box because the thing wants to be what it wants to be. We can't decide for it. And I knew that this piece of writing was only going to be a novella. And novellas are very, very hard to get published, especially if you're an emerging writer. So I wrote this book about 7 years ago. I would pull it out every few years, run an edit through it, and then send it to a few publishers, see if I could get any bites, even though I knew my chances were low. Until about a year ago, and I thought, I'm just gonna self-publish this myself because my chances of getting this published traditionally are next to zero. So I can either publish it myself, send it out into the world myself, or I'll just have it sit on a hard drive forever. So I decided to self-publish. So this is my experience self-publishing my book. I used Amazon/Amazon Kindle, and I am not a technologically savvy gal. It took me a little bit, but it was pretty easy to get a hang of. And I want to run you through what I did. First thing I did was set up an account. That was easy, that was straightforward. And then I went through and I did my finishing edits because no one was going to proofread this before it went to print, apart from me. I wanted to make sure everything was perfect. And I still think to myself, what if I miss something? Because no one's there to tell me, but I've just learnt to let it go. I did have people look at my work, and I highly recommend, if you don't have any writing peers who will look over your manuscript for you, please hire an editor who will go through and have a look at your manuscript before you decide to upload it. Because there can be a lot of things that we miss. We're only human. I'm sure you're a great writer and I'm sure you're a great editor too, but sometimes we just make mistakes. And that's normal, that's natural. There's nothing to be ashamed of, but it is important to have someone look over everything and make sure that it's okay. Once my draft was finished, I went ahead and I formatted everything. The website itself tells you all the things that you need to know, how to set out your manuscript before you upload everything. I sorted out the Kindle version first, which I'm sure you will probably do too. And they actually have the option for a previewer where you can see how it looks on Kindle before you upload it. So that's really useful, and that was so cool. That was such a fun moment for me, being able to see how it would look on a Kindle device. And so once I checked everything was good to go, I uploaded it, and it took about 72 hours for the Kindle version to actually become available. That was super easy. When it comes to royalties, this is only applicable for the Kindle, but they have 2 different plans for royalties. And I found this a little bit annoying. So you can either receive 35% of the royalties or 70% of the royalties. If you choose the 35% option, you don't have to pay any additional fees, but if you choose the 70% option, there may be fees involved when people purchase the Kindle option, and that only really happens, you only really get big fees if your file has a lot of images and graphics in it. So I think the fee that I pay for the 70% plan is quite low, but if your file is a bit bigger, then it would be different for you. And the thing is, I wanted to do a pre-sale for my Substack subscribers as a thank you, and for the pre-sale I wanted the price to be as low as possible. And if you choose the 70% option, the lowest price that you can give your ebook has to be $2.99. So you can't go any lower than that. However, if you do want a lower price, you're going to have to switch to this 35% option where you can price your book as low as 99 cents. So what I did was I did the pre-sale, had my book on the 35% tier because I wanted the low price for my Substack paid subs, and then I changed back to the 70% tier. It's a little bit annoying, but it's fine. The thing is though, I had to wait 72 hours between changing the price from my subscribers' specific price to the general price. So whenever you change anything, you have to wait 72 hours for it to reset in the system. I think it didn't end up actually taking 72 hours, it took a little less, but it was a little bit frustrating having to wait for everything to recalibrate, but I guess it can't be helped. When it came to uploading the paperback file, it was almost all the same. I did run into a few different difficulties and it was a little bit harder, but I really wanted a paperback version. And actually looking back, I think I probably, if I could do it again, I would choose a hardcover instead of a paperback, specifically because it was a novella and because the spine was quite small for a paperback. The reason why I haven't done a hardcover is because I'm gonna have to buy a new ISBN, because I did get an ISBN for the paperback. And I didn't realize, even for the same book, you have to buy a different ISBN. Even though it's the same book, you still have to get an ISBN, which is insane. You also don't need an ISBN for the Kindle or the ebook. Amazon can supply you with an ISBN, but it can only be distributed on Amazon platforms if you have the Amazon ISBN. And I thought I would have positive expectations and buy an ISBN anyway. And it was a little bit expensive because I had to pay some account setup fee, which was really annoying. I wanted to have more rights, so I went with it anyway. With Kindle, I could easily upload the cover of my book. However, when it came to book covers for paperback, it was a little bit frustrating. So you can design your own cover. Amazon has their own little design program thing. I wouldn't call it a program, but it has this thing where you can design your book cover. I clicked on it and honestly, please don't do this because the designs were absolutely atrocious. Just use Canva like I did. But the thing with Canva is I found it really hard to get the dimensions right. And so I kept on uploading my book cover because I had to do the front, back and the spine all together. And every time I uploaded it, there was some issue and I would adjust things, but sometimes I would upload it and the whole cover would be on a different angle, or something like the file would do something really weird, and I just had so many issues getting it right. It was so stressful, but eventually I managed to make it work and I uploaded it and it showed me where the design was likely to get cut out, what was going to happen, and how it would look once it was printed. And I feel like there were 1 or 2 tweaks that I could have made, but at this point I was so scared that it was just going to fall apart in front of my face again. I was so scared that like I was going to upload the file and then it would do something weird. So at that point I just thought to myself, okay, this is as good as I'm going to get. We're going to leave it at that. And it turned out pretty well. This whole process took me a few hours and I had to spread it out over 2 days because I'm a busy gal. I study law and I work and I post a Substack. So it took a lot longer than I expected because I only really gave myself about an hour to do this and it took a lot longer than that. And that was really frustrating, but I got it done. And once I uploaded, it still gave me another previewer like it did for Kindle. It showed me how the book would turn out, what the pages would look like. That again was really exciting to see. And then once I uploaded everything, it gave me the option to order a proof copy. And I ordered 4. I don't know why I chose 4. I think I thought that, I don't know. I only really needed 1 or 2, but for some reason I ordered 4. And I thought I'd just gift them to people, but it has a big not for resale on the front cover. So I'm probably going to keep them here in my apartment. I'm not going to do anything with them. So don't waste the money. Just order 1 or 2. It's not really worth it. But this is how they turned out. This is the proof. It comes with not for resale, and that's stamped around the whole cover. Like I said, the font on the spine is quite small, but I did risk it being chopped off if I made it any bigger. I feel as though this is not quite parallel. You probably can't even see it. Like it's like a millimeter off. But I feel as though this text is not quite straight, but it's whatever, it's fine. And I don't really know what's going on with the barcodes because this is my ISBN, and the books that I've seen people buy don't have this barcode, so I don't know what's going on with this. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. There were probably a few tweaks that I could have made, but they're not deal breakers. They're not things that like anyone's really going to notice except for me. And so this is the book. I am a little bit annoyed. Oh yeah, I did a cover page. I wasn't able to do that for Kindle. I was only able to do it for the paperback. But this is the cover page. And then this is my little copyright legal thing. When I uploaded my file, I did have page numbers in my document, but they haven't come out on this. I don't know what the deal with that is. That's a little bit annoying, but it is quite a small book. I don't think the page numbers, I don't know, I feel like it kind of, it's kind of a vibe not having page numbers, but that's something that I will have to rectify next time I self-publish, if I do self-publish again. So once my proofs came and I approved them, I decided to make my book live. It took about 72 hours, and that was when I started promoting it, which was scary because I've had people read over this manuscript, but it's been in my head for so long, and I have never read it as someone who doesn't know anything about the story. Like I've never experienced it as a reader. So I don't know if people are gonna, it's really scary and overwhelming. I'm not articulating this very well, but there was so much self-doubt and imposter syndrome in the week that I was publishing it. I had to fight myself so hard mentally to put this out there. And you know what? People might like it, people might not, but it's out there. It's not sitting on a hard drive. It's done. It's out there. And now anyone can go onto Amazon or Kindle and purchase it. I would say my experience self-publishing so far has been really good. One thing that is frustrating me a little bit is the payout cycle is really long. So I have to wait until the end of this month, which is October, and then it will take 60 days from the end of the month to process the money that I've made from this book. And then after that 60 days, it will then be transferred, which could even take a few weeks. So it's October. I probably won't see the money I made from this book until mid-January at least, which is crazy. I've been making money in like various little ways online for the past few years, and I have never seen a payout cycle that slow. I've used Patreon, Stripe, merch sites, Substack, YouTube, OF, and nothing has ever taken that long to pay me. So I'm a little bit frustrated that it takes so long, and I couldn't find a reason why. I did Google, why does Amazon take so long? There wasn't really a clear answer. So that's the one downside so far. But then again, I know the pay cycle from publishing traditionally wouldn't really be that ideal either, unless you got an advance. So that's the one thing that's frustrated me so far. I would probably self-publish again. It's still my dream to be published traditionally. I've had to let that go because, look, as long as my books are out there, it doesn't matter if they're traditional or self-published. At this point, I would do this again. Just the graphics thing was really frustrating because I'm not a technological person and I've never been a good design person, but I am really happy with how my design turned out because I did all of this in Canva. I got the images from Unsplash, and I did acknowledge the cover photograph was from Soup Kim via Unsplash, back photograph by Cole Keister via Unsplash. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be easier next time around. And I'm really interested to see how the rest of my journey goes, self-publishing. Who knows, I could grow to hate it. I could grow to appreciate it even more, but the journey will definitely be interesting. And before I go, I'm just gonna read you out the blurb of my book in case you haven't already read it, because hey, I might as well promo it while we're here. I didn't realize until I was editing today that my camera actually cut out as I was reading out the blurb, so we're gonna read it out now. I probably should re-record the entire video because yes, I am aware that my shirt is hanging open and that's not ideal, but one, I don't really care, and two, I feel as though re-recording the video would be an inefficient use of my time, so I'm just going to add this in and let's read out the blurb. Ignoring the fact that I need to wash my hair, I don't care about that either. Let's just read the blurb, and then if you like it, please go and buy my book. I would appreciate it. In this world, a woman is nothing but a body that must be perfect. If it is not, it will be destroyed. One body was going to be destroyed. Stephen decided to save it instead. Now it sits in the backseat of a car, waiting to see where Stephen will take it. That's my book. It's a dystopian feminist novella. I'm so excited to have it out in the world. So of course, the link will be down below. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'm curious to know if you have any questions about the self-publishing process and what it was like for me to self-publish through Amazon Kindle. If you'd like to follow my journey, you can click the subscribe button. And I really appreciate the likes and the comments. Thank you for joining me. Have a magical day.